Okay, so this is a full moon, and this one, it was titled Just a Little Patience, because none of us have been patient enough. Last time when we had the new moon, we had a whole bunch of planets that were opposite the moon. We had that stellium, and we kind of still have the same kind of thing. So, meaning of having all these planets opposite is waiting, preparation, and patience. This is also the final full moon phase before the next eclipse cycle. And eclipses are a whole different ball game on their own. We've had discussions about them before. So, anyways, this is not a time for risky new ventures. This is kind of a time to just watch as things develop and be patient. So, the relevance of this month for the collective marks a turning point in the evolution of humanity. And I think we kind of mentioned about this before. Everything was going into 0 degrees. All the larger outer planets were going into 0 degrees, and they were all going into Aries, which is the first sign. So basically everything is starting new all over again. The other thing that's coming up too, and we will talk more about this later, so on the 17th, when we enter eclipse season, that's also the new moon. And so that eclipse will be in the sign of Aquarius, and this is the first time we've had this since 2018. So maybe we can have a little bit of comparisons to 2018 to what this may bring. But this eclipse that we're coming up is going to begin accelerated change and unexpected surprises. And I think this is kind of this anticipation that we've all been feeling. I think we all feel that something is coming. So it will have a very tight square to Uranus and Taurus, which only heightens its unpredictability, this electric energy, and it ultimately will urge us to break away from outdated ways of being, relating, and thinking, and help us explore new solutions to the problems we're facing. But we'll get into that later. So this full moon is in Leo. So Leo is a fire sign, so it's fiery energy. And at this time of this full moon, there are 4 major cosmic bodies in fire signs and 6 in air signs. So air energy is going to fan the flames of this fiery energy, and it could bring some heat and possibly some tension because they're opposing forces, right? We will likely see this playing out, especially in the world at large and even in our local communities. So if you're faced with any hostile or tense situations, come back to that highest vibration of Leo, which is simplicity. So Leo is fun and playful and creative, and that can help us look at things with a lighthearted tone. So we don't have to get wrapped up in all the heaviness of what's bothering us. So instead, we need to try to focus on simplicity. And sometimes the simplest answer is the best answer. So we have home, family, our intimate relationships. They're in sharper focus for at least the next couple of weeks. And the opposing forces, which is work, or what you need and what you want, will create inner tension and external pressures because they're opposing, right? So this can lead to conflict and crises that can drain your energy. How many of us have said we felt this motivation and then this tank of this energy? We're feeling it. So on the opposite end of that, this opposition can also provide inner strength, courage, self-assertion, endurance to overcome resistance. It can reduce inhibitions and fears, unblock deadlocks, and face conflict. So problems generally only arise when you get down and you can't do what should be done, or you don't know when to stop. So oppositions are like a waiting stage in a period of preparation for a new cycle. So patience is essential. And I think we're all feeling that too, because we're all sort of like recognizing that something more is coming, and it's almost like the calm before the storm, or we're all just waiting with bated breath to what's going to happen. Nobody's exhaling yet. We're kind of afraid to, which is a little bit unnerving. So we have Venus that is activated under this full moon, which is very fitting because Venus, the planet of love, and Leo itself is a very heart-focused zodiac. We are being called to lead with our hearts and connect to the wisdom that they are sharing with us. So many of us get caught up in our thoughts and in our minds, which definitely have their right place, but we're missing some of the picture if we don't acknowledge the wisdom of our hearts too. So to listen to that wisdom of our hearts, we have to get out of our minds and into our bodies. We have to allow ourselves to feel. We have to slow down and pay attention to the sensory experience of our bodies. This is something I've been trying to do lately too. Whenever I'm feeling anxious or angry, take a step back. Where are you feeling it in your body? It's actually interesting what we'll notice. Along with giving space for that heart wisdom, we may also find relationship issues coming to the forefront because we're looking at our heart, or we're thinking about our heart, or using our hearts. To navigate through that, we can turn to the goddess asteroid Vesta, which is also activated by this full moon. So Vesta is the goddess of hearth and fire. She reminds us to return to ourselves and to our home environment and to create comfort and security. Remember that simplicity I mentioned before, which home is generally our safe space, and it's where we can be ourselves and we're not weighed down with all that other stuff. So just bringing it back down to the very core, right? So using Vesta's wisdom, we are encouraged to create that safe space for ourselves so we can make the best decisions. We are encouraged to create a feeling of safety, warmth, and a sense of belonging. And from this place, the right answers will find us. Today, I believe it is, we're hit with another major milestone. So Uranus, the planet of surprise, stations direct into Taurus for its final stretch in that transit. So something we will not see again in this lifetime. And this is big. So since 2018, Uranus and Taurus has been shaking up our relationship with money, food systems, land, labor, material security. And as it moves forward without another retrograde, expect acceleration. Economically and socially, conversations around value, resources, sustainability, and wealth distribution may reach turning points. Politically, this could look like sudden shifts tied to land, currency, or supply chains. On a personal level, it's about finally acting on the changes you've been circling for years. Your comfort zone is officially obsolete. You have to create a new one. Mars and Pluto are in Aquarius, and the collective mood is future focused, innovative, and a little rebellious. We're thinking bigger than ourselves, questioning systems, and imagining new ways of living and organizing. The energy also softens as Mercury enters Pisces, which is in a few days from now, followed by Venus entering Pisces on the 10th of February. So this will bring emotion, intuition, and compassion back into the picture. Logic gives way to feeling, and vision meets vulnerability. It's a reminder that even as we dream up new futures, we still need tenderness, beauty, and emotional honesty to sustain them. So the solar eclipse in Aquarius inaugurates the year of the fire horse in Chinese astrology, as well as the first eclipse season of 2026. So being the first eclipse in the sign of the water bearer since 2018, it's especially significant. Taking place in the late degrees of Aquarius and tightly squaring Aquarius's ruler Uranus, this begins an unpredictable month. likely to be filled with accelerated change, unexpected surprises, and opportunities for quantum leaps into the future. This solar eclipse asks for radical renewal of our relationship with communities, with belonging, with technology, the internet, and the larger human collective. It invites us to break away from outdated ways of being, examine patterns that emerge in group settings, and embrace new ways of thinking, creating, and collaborating with one another. So we'll talk more about this when we get together to discuss the new moon, which is on the 17th. So generally speaking, all of the research that I've had has been pointing to clearer sailing as of June or after June. So until then, things will be continuously changing and will be challenged repeatedly, as if we hadn't had enough of that. So the signs that are most affected this time around are the fixed signs: Aquarius, Taurus, Leo, and Scorpio. So with that said, let's look at the different signs and what's in store. So remember, this is for your sun, moon, or rising. So Aries. February starts with fireworks, literally. The full moon in Leo lightens up your sector of creativity, faith, freedom, and self-expression, reminding you that you were never meant to play small. This is a feel-good, heart-opening moment where passion projects, romantic sparks, or creative risks reach a turning point. You may feel inspired to put yourself out there, share your work, or follow joy more unapologetically. The shadow, though, is burnout or overconfidence. Leo full moons can make everything feel urgent and dramatic, so pace yourself. You do not need to prove your brilliance by exhausting yourself. A few days later, the energy shifts in your favor as Uranus stations direct in Taurus, activating your money, values, and self-worth sector for its final stretch. This is a green light moment. Say yes to connections that feel future-focused and mutually supportive, especially if they align with your long-term goals. So let confidence come from authenticity, not pressure. Taurus. February marks a once-in-a-lifetime turning point for you. When Uranus stations direct in your sign, it officially enters the final stretch of a transit you will not experience again in this lifetime. Since 2018, Uranus in Taurus has been reshaping your identity, your body, your confidence, and your relationship to stability. Now there's no more backtracking. The final months of this transit, through to April 26th, are about embodiment. This is your moment to fully own the version of yourself that has been quietly emerging. Radical self-acceptance, personal reinvention, and freedom from old labels are not optional anymore. They are the assignment. The more you resist change, the louder it gets. The more you cooperate, the more empowered you feel. The full moon sets the tone by illuminating your home, family, and emotional foundation sector. You may feel pulled between craving comfort and needing independence. This full moon can bring breakthroughs around living situations, family roles, or emotional boundaries. The magic here is realizing that you can create safety without staying small. The shadow is stubbornness or emotional defensiveness. Let yourself feel proud of how far you have come, but stay open to growth. Security does not mean stagnation anymore. Gemini. February feels like a breath of fresh air and a spark to the mind all at once. The month opens with the full moon, lighting up your communication, ideas, and self-expression sector. This is a moment of clarity around your voice. A conversation, announcement, creative project, or piece of writing may reach a culmination point. You may feel more confident sharing your thoughts or finally being seen for your intelligence and creativity. The shadow is overperforming or feeling like you have to say everything at once. Let your words land with intention. One of the biggest themes for you is movement, mentally, socially, and spiritually. With Uranus now direct in Taurus, activating your subconscious, healing, and intuition sector, breakthroughs may come quietly but powerfully. Old fears, limiting beliefs, or mental habits you've outgrown are ready to dissolve for good during the final stretch of Uranus in Taurus through April. Pay attention to dreams, sudden insights, or moments of clarity that arrive out of nowhere. As an air sign, you may be tempted to overthink these shifts, but this transit works best when you trust your inner knowing rather than analyzing it to death. You don't need to dominate the room to make an impact. Cancer. February hits different for you because you were ruled by the moon, and this month is basically a lunar roller coaster in the best and most transformative way. The full moon in Leo activates your money, self-worth, and security sector, bringing big feelings around value, confidence, and what you deserve. This can look like a financial win, a reality check, or a moment when you finally realize you've been underestimating yourself. Because eclipse season begins immediately after, emotions may feel heightened, dramatic, or extra revealing. Try not to react impulsively. Lunar energy always passes, but the insights it brings are lasting. If something feels loud, it's because it needs your attention, not your panic. One of the most important long-term themes for you begins this month as Saturn and Neptune both move into Aries, your career and public life sector. This is very different energy from your natural watery rhythm, but it is also powerful. Aries is a fellow cardinal sign, which means you're being asked to lead, initiate, and take yourself seriously in new ways. Saturn may bring pressure, responsibility, or moments of self-doubt around your path, while Neptune adds vision, faith, and creativity. Lead with emotional intelligence. Your sensitivity is not a weakness here. It is your edge. Leo. February opens with your moment in the spotlight, literally. The full moon in Leo lands in your identity, confidence, and self-expression sector, officially kicking off eclipse season and reminding everyone who the main character is. This is a powerful culmination point tied to intentions you set around Leo season last summer. You may feel seen, celebrated, or finally ready to own a version of yourself you've been growing into quietly. Creativity, romance, leadership, and self-belief are amplified. The shadow is overdoing it, overpromising, or feeling crushed if the applause doesn't come fast enough. Let this full moon be about authentic confidence, not performance. You don't need to improve anything. Your presence already speaks. Virgo. February is not just another month for you. It's a preview episode. The eclipse storyline unfolding now is actively leading toward the total lunar eclipse in your sign on March 3rd. And what you feel, notice, or question now is part of a much bigger arc. The full moon in Leo activates your rest, healing, and subconscious sector, stirring emotions, memories, and realizations that may not fully make sense yet. That's okay. The work right now isn't fixing or optimizing. It is observing patterns, especially around burnout, self-criticism, or where you've been carrying more than your share. This is your cue to slow down and listen. Libra. February opens with a clarifying moment as the full moon in Leo lights up your friendship, community, and long-term goals sector. This lunation asks you to look closely at who you're building with and where you truly belong. You may feel proud of a collective achievement, step into a more visible role within a group, or realize that certain social dynamics no longer fit the future you're envisioning. The shadow here is staying connected out of obligation or fear of rocking the boat. Alignment matters more than approval. Scorpio. February opens with a moment that puts you on the map, whether you asked for it or not. The full moon in Leo activates your career, reputation, and legacy sector, bringing a culmination or revelation around your professional life. This could look like recognition, a new role, a public win, or the realization that the version of success you've been chasing no longer fits. And yes, both can be true at the same time. The shadow of this full moon is over-identifying with achievement or feeling pressure to perform. The lesson is visibility without self-betrayal. Around the same time, Uranus stations direct in Taurus, bringing a noticeable shift in your partnership and relationship sector. After years of unpredictability, surprises, and emotional curveballs in one-on-one dynamics, things begin to stabilize in a new way. Not back to normal, but clearer. You may feel more grounded in what you want from relationships, less reactive to sudden changes, and more confident advocating for space, honesty, or freedom. This helps rebalance your relational life, especially after a long period of adapting to the unexpected. The lesson now is integration. You don't have to abandon intimacy to protect your independence. Let yourself be seen, but not at the cost of your well-being. Sagittarius. February opens with a spark that reignites your sense of purpose and possibility. The full moon in Leo lights up your sector of travel, education, belief systems, and long-term vision, bringing clarity or culmination around a dream you've been nurturing since last summer. You may feel ready to take a leap, say yes to an opportunity, or finally trust a path that once felt uncertain. This full moon is about faith, but the shadow is overconfidence or assuming everything will work out without effort. Let inspiration lead you forward, but back it up with follow-through. Capricorn. February opens with a moment that asks you to slow down and feel before you act. The full moon in Leo activates your sector of intimacy and shared resources and emotional depth, bringing a culmination around trust, vulnerability, or financial entanglements. This can look like an important conversation, a realization about power dynamics, or a moment where you see clearly what feels reciprocal and what doesn't. The shadow here is control or emotional withdrawal. Let yourself be real about what you need instead of managing everything from behind the scenes. The medicine is honesty. Aquarius. February opens with your relationships front and center as the full moon in Leo lights up your partnership sector. This is a culmination point around love, commitment, collaboration, or even long-standing dynamics that have needed clarity for a while. You may feel seen by someone in a new way or finally realize where a relationship has been more about performance than presence. The shadow here is ego clashes or projecting instead of listening. The growth is learning that real connection does not threaten your independence, it strengthens it. Everything pivots toward you this year. It's not subtle. The Aquarius new moon solar eclipse in your sign is a major identity reset, one that you will continue to feel echoes of for the next 2 years. Eclipses in your sign are not casual. They're chapter defining. This one asks you to shed an old version of yourself, whether that's a role, label, or a way of moving through the world that no longer fits. Because this eclipse squares Uranus, your modern ruler, changes may feel sudden or destabilizing at first. Plans can shift quickly. Your sense of direction may evolve overnight. Trust that whatever is cracking open now is making room for a more authentic version of you to emerge. The universe is nudging you to choose evolution over familiarity. Pisces. Of all the signs, you made it. February marks the end of one of the most intense chapters of your life as Saturn finally leaves your sign, closing a cycle that began back in 2023. This transit has tested your boundaries, maturity, resilience, and sense of self in ways that few people around you could fully see. You were asked to grow up, to show up, even when you were tired, unsure, or grieving old versions of yourself. The weight begins to lift this month, and while you're not magically done with the lessons, you're done carrying them alone. Take a moment to honor yourself. Seriously. Before Saturn fully changes the game, the month opens with the full moon in Leo activating your work, health, and daily routine sector. This can bring clarity around habits, jobs, or responsibilities that have been draining you. You may realize how much you've been doing on empty, or finally see which systems no longer support your energy. The shadow is pushing through exhaustion just to prove you can. You don't need to prove anything anymore. Choose sustainability over self-sacrifice. So I set up a meditation for tonight. And in this meditation, we're going to go back to simplicity. We're going to go back, or just go to, your personal safe space. And this is especially important as we still have more changes and upheaval ahead. So we need a safe space or a place to retreat to. So that's where I'm going to try to take you tonight. That said, let's get ready. As you settle down, find the most comfortable position. Take a deep, relaxing breath in. Gently and slowly exhale. Another deep breath in. Hold it for 4 counts. And then release it softly in a sigh. Your body is at ease. You are safe, and you feel yourself relaxing deeper and deeper with each slow breath. Quietly scan down your body, beginning with the crown of your head. Take in a deep breath and release any tension out of your breath. Let this feeling of relaxation soften the muscles around your face, temples, and jaw. Don't clench your teeth. Let your tongue rest gently on the roof of your mouth. Take another deep breath in. And become aware of any tension in your neck and shoulders. Breathe in, and as you exhale, let your shoulders drop, becoming soft and relaxed. Let this feeling of relaxation spread down your arms and into your fingers, down your chest and abdomen, your back and legs, right down to your toes. Breathe to your own rhythm and let your whole body become heavy, soft, and relaxed. Now see yourself walking through a beautiful valley. There are beautiful trees all around. The ground beneath your feet is soft, covered in moss. The occasional twig crackles under your feet. Smell the earthy odor. Keep walking, admiring your surroundings. See the flowers, the vines, ivy, climbing up the tree trunks, wild berry bushes, a little creek that is flowing along the path you are walking on. Feel the bright sunshine as the rays filter through the branches. You feel the warmth of it on your face, like a hug from the universe. As you continue walking, you see a clearing coming up. As you enter the clearing, You are welcomed by your very own personal, safe space. It is anything you want it to be, and anything that makes you feel safe, loved, content. All is right in the world. What do you see? Are you outdoors, surrounded by nature? What do you hear? Do you see a structure ahead? A shelter of sorts to keep you safe? What does it look like? What is it surrounded by? Take in every little detail of your space. Look around. Feel how comfortable and safe you feel. Enter into the space. Sit somewhere comfortable and let your mind wander, free to experience anything. Take your time and allow yourself to just be. Now it's time to leave. For now. Remember that you can come back here anytime you want. Anytime you need a break from the world. Anytime you want to feel safe. Anytime you want to just be. Turn back toward the path from which you entered. Notice that your body is slowly becoming a mist. A heavy, dewy mist. Feel the dense mist filling your whole body, floating down all the way through the tips of your toes. Feel the mist compressing to become flesh, bones, muscles, skin. Take a few grounding breaths, deep breaths, while we get back to our bodies. Feel that our feet have grown roots into the ground and we are connected with the earth. Start feeling that your body is alive again. Feel the blood pulse through it. Feel alive. Wiggle your toes and your fingers. Shift your spine. Move your head from left to right, forward and backwards, slowly and deliberately. And when you are ready, open your eyes